All right, conservative watchdog group Judicial Watch is praising the Justice Department's decision to look at the Clinton Foundation, saying the previous investigation was, in their words, a farce.
So the Justice Department asking questions is the least that can be done, given the outrageous sham investigation that took place last year. There's going to be another pretend investigation that is designed to mollify critics like the president and Judicial Watch.
Joining me now from Judicial Watch is Chris Farrell, the Director of Investigations and Research. Chris, great to see you again.
Hey, Sharon.
Okay, so what do you make of this restarting of the foundation investigation? Because we know, as Sarah said, that some of these things have gone on for years. In part, the Washington Post says this: the FBI has been investigating the Clinton Foundation for months. This newest track, it sounds like, reviving a probe that was dialed back during the 2016 campaign amid tensions between Justice Department prosecutors and FBI agents about the politically charged case. I mean, Chris, in your estimation, aren't many of those same people still going to be there?
They are, but the important thing to realize is that through our litigation, we've uncovered records and documents that demonstrate that there's absolutely no daylight between the Clinton Foundation and Secretary of State Clinton while she was serving in office. And for example, there's one particular email from Doug Band, who was a Clinton Foundation official, communicating with Huma Abedin, where he says, hey, the Crown Prince of Bahrain has exercised all the normal channels, and he can't get a meeting with the secretary, meaning Secretary Clinton. And Doug Band says to Huma Abedin, he's a high-dollar donor, so we need to put him in contact with the secretary. So here's a Clinton Foundation official acknowledging that the routine, normal channels have failed, that this guy's a high-dollar donor, and they have to get him special access to the secretary. I mean, this in black and white, in their emails, communicating internally with each other, it demonstrates that extra privilege, that extra access, this pay-to-play mentality. This is produced to us through our litigation, and it's just one example of literally hundreds of others.
Well, do you think that this will have a different result, though? Because a lot of folks will say, listen, the Clintons are sophisticated. Some of this information was out there before. Nothing happened. A lot of the same actors are still there, plugged into the DOJ, to the FBI. And this isn't going to be that different from what Jim Comey turned up.
You know, that's what they rely upon, frankly, is a certain degree of fatigue and exhaustion from the public, and having, their spokesman go out and say, oh, not this again. The problem is that at this point, we have actual documents. We have people that we've taken depositions of, like Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills and others, where the case is not good. It looks rough. The sad thing is that it was up to Judicial Watch, literally for years, to uncover this stuff and to press the case. And based on the foundation that we've already laid, now the Justice Department, with a fresh set of eyes, is really obligated to go forward and conduct a legitimate investigation. When you have a subject interview of Mrs. Clinton on the 2nd of July last year, and she isn't Mirandized, and it's not under oath, and there's no transcript, no other federal government employee or any government employee, period, in her position would ever be treated that way. And I say that because I'm a former special agent of Army counterintelligence. I've done national security crime investigations and successfully had people jailed for a tiny fraction of what Mrs. Clinton has done.
Yeah.
And Investigation 101 is when you say I don't recall 39 times in one interview, you pause and you pull out her non-disclosure agreement that she signed, and you show it to her and say, now, does this refresh your recollection? Let's move forward to the questions. How is it that you can say you don't recall? And none of this was done. So, it was, in several instances, a sham investigation. And it's critical that now that a fresh set of eyes can look at it, and all this documentary evidence that we've produced through our litigation is in the public record, for there to be a legitimate, fresh look.
Yeah, and speaking of another fresh look, I just want to quickly note the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Chuck Grassley, also sent out another letter this week saying he wants an investigation to James Comey's disclosure of the memos that led to the reporting in the New York Times. He sent out a letter and he says this, asking the DOJ, the FBI, have you initiated an investigation into the matter of whether Mr. Comey improperly disclosed classified information by providing these memoranda to Professor Richmond? That's the one who then leaked the information to the media. If so, what's the status of the investigation? If not, why not? Just very quickly, do you think that goes anywhere?
It will, because former Director Comey is a leaker. He took classified information and knowingly and willingly passed it on to a cutout to get it published in the New York Times. His work product, he absconded with federal government records and then unlawfully leaked them. I mean, in my opinion, he is a prime suspect for prosecution under 18 U.S.C. 793F, which is mishandling of national classified information. And I don't know how he walks away from that. His testimony on the 8th of June in front of the Senate Intelligence Committee, when he finished his testimony, he should have been Mirandized as he walked out the door, because he admitted to doing just that, passing on classified information. Well, it's outrageous.
And the Attorney General has vowed that he's going to crack down on those leaks, so a lot of people want to see that happen in this case. So we'll see if it does. Chris Farrell, thank you very much for dropping in.
Thank you, Shannon.